Yes, so the old axle had 10 by 7 1/4, so that's like an oddball GM pattern. And one of the reasons why I went with the new axle is for the new hubs. These are 10 by 225, so not quite the 10 by 285 semi-truck bolt pattern. But I will be able to get aftermarket wheels, 20s, 22s, 24s, so be it, that direct bolt-on to these hubs. So that was a big aspect, a learning curve from that one to this one. These are the axles that I should have used all along. So yes, they are a 10-lug wheel. I would be using my piano dollies right about now, but my piano dollies are under my truck bed, so I don't have another set. So, a little shop tip for everybody. Go to Harbor Freight and buy some little piano dollies to put around. They're cheap and they're useful. I guess I could wheel this thing around, huh? Can I move it? Oh yeah. Can I move it without messing anything up? Come on, baby. Alright. Step 1 is complete. See if I can do this without dying. How many times I have to tell you this, but make sure everything has wheels. Everything needs to have wheels. Alright, phase 2 is complete. Yes, wheels on the bus go round and round. Round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round. All through the town. Everything needs wheels. Makes life easy. Probably strap this down on here. Don't need this. Let all the bought air out and then continue straightening up. you guys a new perspective. Little do you know, you're going to wind up in a YouTube video later on this afternoon, I think. Wave to yourselves up there. Hi. I didn't break anything. I almost broke my neck. We're good. Another I don't know if we're going to call it a pro tip, but clean as you go. Make a mess, clean a mess. Make a mess, clean a mess. It helps with feeling accomplished as well. After you clean up your mess, you feel good, you can make another one. And who doesn't like to make a good mess? Don't worry, for you OCD folks like myself, I missed this spot, but I got it. Also, again, I'm not going to call it a pro tip, we're just going to call it a tip. Stay hydrated, okay? Alright, so Chevy wants to know what I'm building. I want to know what I'm building too, to be honest with you. First off, up on that shelf, there's a camera. I want everybody to wave to it. Say hi to yourselves. You're all going to be part of a YouTube video coming out soon. So if you're curious to see what I'm going to do with your content on the YouTube channel, make sure you go over to there, do that subscribe thing and then notification thing. This way here you know exactly what's going on there. But I went to the salvage yard today and scored the front axle out of, I believe, like a 2015 like chassis cab F450 or 550 Ford. So the heck, I can't get my, maybe if I come down. So big brake upgrade. The brakes are substantially larger than the old axle. We are going to have to modify this axle. So for those of you who missed me modifying the first axle, you'll get to see me modify this one. I'm going to modify this into a drop axle for Josh or John. Yes, John's got it right. The 59, yes. That is a 59 Chevy Viking 60, similar to like an Apache with a Caterpillar 3116 in it. And to prove that it's a Viking, Chevy Viking 60. So that's kind of what I'm building. The goal for this live stream was to tear apart the rest of the chassis, get the axle out. I'm going to set the axle up on some jack stands and try to learn how to use a tape measure and not make the same mistakes that I made before. I didn't really make any mistakes. We learned a lot of lessons on the last one. John, something like that? I'm a big fan of the Tri-5 and the 58s and the 9s. This was my second one. The one that I just showed you is my third one. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the trucks. So the goal behind this truck is I've been working on this for a really long time, probably a lot longer than I should be, but I didn't really have a clear understanding of where I wanted to go with the build. So as I progressed, things started getting out of hand, more out of hand, and then extremely out of hand. And now that I'm so far in where I want the truck to go, I just need to do a better job. So rebuilding the chassis to improve upon some things. We're going to make it so that the engine is serviceable. This is a huge motor in this thing. So I want to be able to drop the motor out from underneath of the truck. I wanted to put a bigger front axle in with bigger front hubs. These are 10 by 225, so that'll allow me to run a big aftermarket direct bolt-on wheel without having to custom make anything. All right, let's figure out what's next. I'm going to put this up on jack stands and do some measuring. Now, let's not make... Or I shouldn't say let's not make mistakes. Let's not make the same mistakes. But let's learn from previous experiences. Not that this was totally wrong, but I know that I could do better, and we're going to do better. So that is what this is about over here. And we are going to use a tape measure to figure some stuff out. All right, I need help. Does anybody have access to Google? I am out of phones. I don't have any phones to use and I don't have a computer. So I need some help. Gibbs still can't hear, but can anybody else hear me? I need some help. Who has access to Google? Listen, if you're going to be a part of the live stream, you're going to be put to work. You didn't realize that, did you? Can somebody find me the overall diameter of like a 275... 65 or 55 R22. I think it's 33 inches overall. I need like an overall diameter on a tire for a 22-inch rim. I'm thinking like if I go with 33 inches, that should be a safe bet. What about like a 255? Maybe a 255. I don't know, 255.50, if they even make them. I have to do some research on tires, but I'm going to go with 33 inches as a safe bet, I think. All right, so what I am doing is I'm measuring up from the ground to the center of the hub to half of like 33 inches. All right, so 255, 55, 22 is 33. All right. So 33, 34, somewhere in there. So half of 33 is what, 16 and a half? That's a wide girl there. So from rotor flange to rotor flange is 72 inches, plus from the rotor outside face to the hub is another 6. So 72 plus 12 is 84. Right? 72, 80, 72 and 12. Yeah, 84. She's a wide girl. Going to need to do a lot of love. We're going to need to show these fenders a lot of love, I think. This is where I sit and stare at it for a while, trying to figure out, 1, if it's going to work, 2, how crazy I am, and 3, all of the above. And this is where all of you say, I'm nuts. I must be crazy. I must be crazy. No ordinary Joe. Yeah, John is correct. I'm trying to figure out how to make it fit. So one of the big aspects with the build is to try to be different. And in order to get the truck as low as I want, independent front suspension is probably the way to go. And it's not out of the question yet. And what I'm trying to figure out is how to build a custom drop axle, which I've done before. It's just now that I have the pieces that I'm looking at, is whether or not, with how drastic it has to be, if it's the right path to go down. There's a big part of me that wants to do it just because I want to, and to test, my abilities, and to test, whether or not it would work. It's not totally out of the question. It's just that it would look vastly different than what I already had envisioned in my head, because it is just massive, massive. But like I said, this is where I sit and stare at it for a while, and now that I have it setting kind of where it's at. So I have it set at like the hub centers at 16.5 inches. So for a 33-inch overall tire. So that's about approximately where the hub would have to sit with a 33-inch tall tire. That was roughly a 255/50, I think. $255.55.22 is approximately 33 inches. Yes. Joby, thank you for the follow. And Brentley had to narrow yours 12 inches. Yes. So that was something that I had thought about doing with this, is I was thinking about narrowing it down as well. But I will probably put a drop section in it, similar to like my old one. The problem is, now that I have it sitting here, the drop section, in order to keep the truck as low as it is with the engine placement, remember, with having the Caterpillar in here, it drops that cross member way down. Way down because of the oil pan. This motor is huge in height. So this is where the dilemma comes in is at what point do you say it's just not going to work? Or how far deep do you jump in? So right now, like, it's hard for you guys to see. I'll try to explain it as best as I can. But right now, like I said, the center of the hub is sitting approximately for like a 33-inch tall tire, right? So I measured from the ground to the center of the hub, which is about 16.5 inches, which gives me the approximate height of the tire, right? For a 33-inch tall tire. So a 33-inch tall tire would be sitting up here. That's for a 22-inch rim. I could put 20s on it and get a smaller tire, but we're not there yet. So in order for me to fit the Caterpillar with this axle, I would have to cut out this section and drop it drop that center section approximately 9 inches to clear the oil pan for the Caterpillar. No ordinary Joe? Yeah. Yep. And you know, I want to exhaust my options now that I have it and I can physically see it. I'm okay with where I'm at with the money spent because I kind of hedged my investment, because these hub adapters, I can sell these hub adapters for the cost of what I paid for the entire thing. So that's one thing as a tip when you are trying to go into kind of like these projects. We all know that it's, you know, can get expensive and it's hard to sometimes recoup your money out of the build. So when you go in to spend your money for something like that, your bartering skills is where it plays in at. So I knew I was getting a good deal. Granted, he thought it was just a chunk of iron. I know what these sell for individually, so the price of these two hub adapters can be sold to cover what I paid for this whole thing. So in that regards, I'm okay. It would just be a matter of waiting to sell these whenever they did, or modifying them for whatever I needed to do. So the value in what I bought is right here. Right here. and then I can scrap everything else and kind of gain a little bit of ground back. So I'm not overly concerned about the money spent because I know that it was a good deal. I thought, and I still think it can be achieved. However, I didn't think it was going to be as drastic as it has to be. Because I went and looked at this the other day and I walked away from it again. That would be the second time. And then I finally came home, looked at a couple different options. Even all of the other options when it comes into the solid axle would have to be modified. So this being the cheaper route, however you want to say it, this is where I would much rather try to invest the money to make it work. If not, go with the one-off custom independent front suspension. One big aspect of why I want to try to stay with the solid front axle is because you never see them. And there's obviously a reason for that, right? So, and I'm just going to have to do a little leg work. I'm going to have to sit here, look at it, stare at it, measure it for a while, and then really kind of determine whether or not I should continue on down this path. I think in some regards it will be just a one of them fine points that will stand out to those who come and look at the truck as something that is vastly different than anything else out there, which is one major aspect of why I want to continue down this road. So the airbags will go right here. There's actually a factory mount. There's actually a factory kit for this front axle that bolts on, but I'm thinking about using this right here as the perch for the bag mount and then do like a strut tower and then put the bag right here. Since I'm custom making the frame, that would be where it would go. And like I could do the drop section, run the tube in, and then tie everything all together to where it would all be locked in as one piece and there wouldn't be an issue of strength. Like I know I can build it strong enough for this application. It's just whether or not I'm going to. And then ground clearance becomes an issue too, because we talked about doing the ground clearance, so it'd only give me approximately like 6 inches of ground clearance between the ground and the bottom of the axle if I move forward with what I'm doing, which is approximately the same as what I had on the old setup. So I don't think there's a problem there because the wheels, I got 6 inches of total ground clearance, which I think is okay. I could probably squeeze about another inch out of the motor coming up. Should probably look at that because I did relocate my alternator bracket, which is what was hitting the hood. So I think actually what I might do is put the hood back on the truck real quick and take a looky-peeky because we are going to have to make a custom intake manifold for that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We might be able to salvage another inch out of that. And when we're dealing with something as crazy custom as this, 1 inch could make the difference of yay or nay. So you already know I'm not scared of the work. 1959 Chevy Apache followed the host. Thank you for the follow. So let me throw on this hood and see what kind of clearance. I might be able to salvage another inch up. So I have about an inch that I can come up. One more inch. So I'm kind of torn. And everybody on YouTube, you can wave to yourselves because you're watching yourself here too. So, hello. You guys can play nicely. You know, TikTok, YouTube, you guys can play nicely together. And I would ask that you do so. So, help me out. Like the live stream and like the video. Play nice. All right, now that we got that taken care of, you know, being a parent never ends. Set some ground rules. So one thing that I could do is this hood here has that real big dip in it, which this is a really nice detail in this hood. I could find a stock hood that has the big bulge in it rather than this dip, because that right there would give me another inch or so. So we're in the game of inches here. D-tap, I'm with you. Yeah, this is a nice detail of the truck. But I am just thinking like kind of big picture. I have about another inch I could go up. I would have to remove the coolant bypass pipe, which is no big deal. I could also incorporate, you know, another detail down the center. I don't know. But we are in the game of inches, so. I could, but the goal is to try to keep the body as low as possible. So I already have the body sitting on 3.5-inch blocks. So ultimately the guys that lay frame and, you know, the low rider community and different things like that try to put them down on the ground, which by the time the project comes to an end, that's about what it'll look like. But I want to try to keep it low. How low can you go? The Adventures with Nate. The truck is... The truck is about 84 inches wide at the width of the fenders. This is the Viking front end, so it has the larger fenders on it. Yes, I am going to bag it, 100%. The airbag will hopefully sit somewhere like up here. Yes, I will definitely have to put a skid plate under the motor. Good call, Boaz. Magnesium skid plate? Now we're getting crazy.